Okay, so this is how I generally do my transcripts for my podcast episodes. This is the current tool that I'm using, Assembly AI, and you can see the website address at the top. Over on the left-hand side, I actually don't even log in. I just realized that right now. Anyway, I go to audio file. I input the file here. I don't actually touch any of this. I leave a lot of it on the auto detection. Auto selection. However, what I do is in these selections at the bottom left, I usually pick speaker level if there's more than one person, or if it's me and ChatGPT, which is still another voice. Oftentimes I use the voice function. So what I do is I press transcribe. So you can use the other stuff here if you like to. You can play around with that. They have a lot of different features. I press the transcribe file and it says, they're running it. And then a few minutes later, it does take a few minutes, it shows up something like this. So here's a few things I have learned by using this for a while is I'll copy it into a Google Doc. It's sometimes stubborn about this. And when the cursor stops blinking, that means it's in the process of transferring it over. Great. I don't worry too much about the formatting because I'm eventually going to copy it over to the podcast host. I use Buzzsprout, and then it will change the formatting there. What I do is change the speaker labels, and here's how I do that. Control F, speaker A, speaker A, and then I go to replace. I think it's Control R, but I always forget, so be it. And I type in that and replace all. Speaker B, in this case, is April. Replace all. I do go through and read the entire transcript, and it does take a little bit of time, but I know there are certain things that it will constantly make mistakes on. There we go, making it a little bit bigger for my eyes. And those are usually names. So I do the same thing that I did with the speaker level with that. I can already see that Dorky Podcast is messed up. So what I'm going to do are the ones that I know are going to come up. So here's what I do. I go Control F, coffee, because it always gets my company name wrong. Surprised it's only twice. And then because I know they're going to get they're going to get April's podcast wrong, I'll type in door. And sometimes you'll need to start reading it and realize that there's a word that's going to be used often, and you can do this trick to fix it a little quicker. I'm typing with one hand, so I'm making a little too many mistakes. What are some other words? So there's 10 of those I'll need to go in and check. And then I'll do a quick scan. Again, this is before reading it through because it makes it a lot quicker. I'll do a quick scan. What are the other words? Okay, podcast to connect is the podcast name. I need to change that to capital letters, so I'll do that. I also tend to, as I'm reading it through in the next step, I'll add in more paragraph breaks so it's a little bit easier on the eye. I think those are the main things that I can take care of that are repeater things that it would mess up. And the next step, of course, is the most boring one, which is when you go through and read it and change everything manually. It doesn't take as long as you think. I've tried to read it while listening and to speed it up that way because I'm a slow reader. I don't know. Try whatever works for you. Try different things and see what works for you. And then when I'm done, I copy, Control A, Control C, command if you're using a Mac, and then I paste it over into the podcast host